Yes.
Having Alexander in the background. So, welcome to Standout Coffee. Who are you?
And my name is Amanda, and I'm from Gothenburg.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you drew here because you're going on a concert.
Yes, me and my friend we're going to this concert, a band play today, and we decided to drive up because why not?
Why not? Good. So you have some time.
Yes.
I've seen you, and a lot of other people seen you online doing wonderful videos, coffee-related videos, and other coffee stuff. If you could tell the viewers a little bit more about you.
Yes, so I've been a barista ever since 2017, straight out of high school. And I worked at Espresso House, I usually say the Starbucks of Sweden. And I worked there for 3.5 years, a bit on and off.
Yeah.
Sometimes full time, sometimes as extra.
In Gothenburg.
In Gothenburg, and also at multiple shops.
Yeah.
And in 2019, I worked a little bit less, a little bit extra, but there I found a fascination of latte art. And I really started to get really into it. And then in August of 2020, I bought my own espresso machine at home. And decided I want to do this in my free time also.
Yeah.
It's not just the work. And then I started just a few months after that, just like a coffee diary on Instagram. So it was not meant to be becoming like a big thing. It was just like for me to record my progress. And
within latte art mostly?
Yes, in latte art, and to get better. And then I've been doing that for 2 years now. I just realized because I started in the beginning of the year. Like a year ago, I'd say, I started to get more into espresso. So the latte art turned to interest into espresso and more within specialty coffee. I got to know a local roastery in Gothenburg, and we started to have a bit of conversation, becoming like a regular there, buying all my coffee, buying more expensive coffee.
Annoying customer coming every day.
Exactly. And then started to play a little bit more with that. So I did both like latte art, but then I usually make like both espresso and latte to do both. Yeah. And now really recently, like 2-3 months ago, I started to get more into pour over. Yeah. And that's also a little bit how I come in contact with you. So I've been doing this thing called #pour over Sunday. So every Sunday I do a pour over to get to know it better and to better myself and to learn with every pour I make, and also hold myself accountable to actually make also pour over coffee, not just espresso.
Nice. Yeah. I love that pour over Sunday thing. We have clients and customers that, of course, are kind of subscribe to our competition boxes, and it's not enough for everyday use. So I hear a lot of stories of this Sunday brew, and I'm gonna share the hashtag because it's a really good one, and maybe have some extra spare time and to bring out like 5, 15 or 20 grams of coffee to do your Sunday. Or maybe Saturday also, but Sunday pour over it's really nice.
It's also a little bit in line with like it's the weekend to have it calm and a little bit of a moment for yourself.
Because a lot of these coffees from multiple roasteries, you need to give them some time. Yeah. Both through the ages over a few weeks, but also over like a 30 minutes period to get, as I always speak about, like the acidity to raise a bit and to get the complexity out of the cup, and also to have the chance to try it without like being on the bus and everything.
Exactly.
So back to the espresso machine, because I'm a huge espresso geek myself. I actually I can pull out a solid heart and tulips and stuff. Yeah. And for me, I'm turning 40 in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
This new thing, like swans and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm such a graphical driven person.
Yeah.
And symmetrical.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's not symmetrical, I don't pay that much interest of the latte art. So like in the world championships, I look at all these like elephants and arrows and dragons and stuff, and I'm like, that's ugly. But I know I'm not there, and I never will be. But for me, like a perfectly lined up tulip or heart, aligned to if there's an ear on the cup, to the right side maybe, it's the perfect thing. So,
and I like usually separate the both. Like
should be 2 competitions maybe.
I usually do like I think of the basics. It's like the heart, the tulip, the rosetta. It's the 3 basic patterns that make up of all other like latte art patterns. And then I feel it's the free pour side, and it's a bit more artistic for me. So it's also, you need imagination, and you need, but also structure and technique to be able to, not just me knowing what it is, but also another person just getting the cup knowing what it is. And I actually started this before I got my espresso machine. So in the beginning of 2020, I decided, so I'm totally self-taught with latte art. So I'm just watching videos, and the first thing I started with was the swan on a lake. So then,
on the lake.
Yes. So then you do a rosetta base, and then do inverted, and then make a swan on top. That was the first thing I
It's a good solid first step. Like, you don't learn to walk, you learn to make a swan on the lake in latte art.
Yes. And the funny thing is, because now when I look back, I have very few. I wish I had a lot more pictures from before that, because when I look back at the old pictures, I'm like, I didn't have any idea of technique at all. So I think like the latte art I poured before, pure luck. It actually became something. It looks like a little bit of a rosetta looks like a feather, and not to have like the base and unanimous wiggles and everything. So the first thing I started with was Swan on a Lake, and in the same time I also but I also want to learn how to do a seahorse.
Seahorse, okay.
Which is much more complex.
It is, okay.
It's
you should start with a double seahorse instead to make it symmetrical, because then I will be happy.
True, they're double seahorse. Much harder. But I said like that, and I still have the first pictures for the picture of the first cups I made of it, and it looks horrible. But I love looking back to it, because like it's a huge progress, and I can also see the progress in every pour I made. And I got to know more of technique, and of I learned by myself also that developed my own technique. So when I taught people how to do like latte art, because I was so passionate with latte art, so like people got excited over it and also wanted to join me. Which
is
was
there
really
like
fun.
latte art clubs?
I don't think so.
I play floorball, and with my team kind of, and you should have like the secret latte art club. Get a sponsorship in, and then you just do swans all night. Because I love to see the passion kind of in your eyes. You're like, oh my god, I love this, and it's fun to see that you say that you wanna you wish that you had more pictures of your progress. Because when back in the days at, I don't know if it was Johnny Ström or whatever, when we did a lot of courses for people, and especially latte art courses when that was new, we tried to save all the cappuccinos they poured during the night, so they can go back and visually see what they made wrong or maybe made right, because usually they're like ugly, quite okay, ugly, really good, ugly. And if you pour them out all the time, you don't visually remember what you did. Because latte art for me is such an it's like how do you say motorisk. Like you learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's in your muscle
it's
memory.
In your spine.
Yeah, it's in your spine. So to also visually see what you did right and wrong is great, and
it's
that's
super
amazing
hard.
on
and
Instagram.
then it also is because I am a perfectionist, definitely a perfectionist, and I also have like I know official patterns like that I have a part that I don't like as much, that I think is visually not as pleasing as a thing I came up with, and but I want mine to look like this because this is how I like it to look. So I'm a perfectionist and I do it like I want to have it, and then usually I make a cup and I always see my mistakes. That's the only thing I see. But all my colleagues is like, but that's amazing, it's a seahorse. Like, what is this? And it's super hard because they also make coffee, so they know how hard it is to make basic latte art, and I'm like, oh, but the head didn't turn out as I wanted to, and it's not as consistent as I wanted to be and everything. So they like ground me, but also that's why I love the pictures, because then I also can see the progress that the 2-3 cups before this was not as good as this one I just made. So I take myself down a bit to earth. So I'm like, I don't be too perfectionist.
So I'm not in service at the moment at any coffee bar, and for me, I never was able to pour us one, but when I have colleagues who made it, I was always kind of not laughed to them, but customers coming in and like one's getting a swan and they're like, huh, and then one's getting like a simple heart and they're like, oh my god, this is so cool, because of course they don't know the everything you have to put in to get it out there.
Exactly.
And a heart is a heart. So
yes, that's what I actually love with just the seahorse, because that's really typical shape, so you mostly see that it is a seahorse.
Show me.
Going to let's see. I think I need to post more seahorses.
Yes.
Like this one.
Oh my god. Okay.
So you really see that it's a seahorse.
You really see that it's a seahorse. Definitely.
So because it can't be anything else. If it's a swan, it's like it can be I don't know, your imagination can turn it into something else.
Okay, so talk me through here. So
yes.
You do
lay the
first kind
base
of layered tulip or whatever it's called.
Yes, do just how many you like the fin, how grand you want the fin to be. Then you do 2 rosettas. One to be like the neck, and one to be the tail.
Ah, so you went around and then you do...
Yes.
Oh, the stomach, and
exactly.
then
and then
up
it's
to the head.
The drawing part, and that's actually really difficult. So a lot of people underestimate it, because
you get the nose as well.
Yes,
the seahorse nose.
The seahorse nose. It's also, I think, really specific. You recognize it that it's a seahorse just because it's like pouting, or I don't know what to say.
Have you ever competed with this pattern?
No, I've never competed in latte art.
Is it a good pattern to compete with?
I think so, actually, because there's symmetry. You need to have symmetry and consistency. I'd say it's a good pattern. I think it has been competed with. Yeah. I think that's also how a lot of these latte art come about, and it's because people have competed it and it becomes popular. And I also think this one on the lake is also a competition pattern that got popular, so now a lot of people do it. But then also it's nice to see the origin, where it came from. I think the one I make is a version of Ghibli Littles. She does a tulip, inverted tulip swan.
And we should definitely get all of these. You should send me like a list of Instagram names that our followers and people watching this can click into, because it's so inspirational to see. And the first question that popped up when you start talking was, what espresso machine do you have at home?
Profitec 600.
Cool. Is it kind of a machine that's extra good for latte art, or is it just a solid brewer? Really
nice. It has a double brewer, so it's a really solid steam pressure, and like it. And it's always compared a lot to the ECM machine, so I think it's quite the same caliber as that one, if you're more familiar with that. And I picked. I was in a espresso machine store, like a store in Gothenburg that has a bunch of espresso machine you can try. And what was really important to me when I bought my machine was that it had a really nice steam pressure. Yeah. Because through my whole barista career, I just worked with La Marzocco's. So that's a high, what you're used to.
Yeah. But you can do amazing latte art with like chocolate sauce.
Yes.
So if you're like hardcore latte art,
yes,
you could possibly just get a steam wand.
Yes. Or even
something like that.
You can even make it with a French press.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a video, like a tutorial.
How to make it.
Yeah,
because
you can actually pour latte art out of that.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's just heating the milk to the right temperature and then make microfoam with the French press. It's actually really interesting that it works like that. And then you pour it into a jug and you can pour latte art with it.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If you want some coffee, I brewed some.
Please.
I think you're getting it within a few days or something. It's the subscription coffee of this month. And I'm still like amazed how this is completely new to me. Like the taste profile of this RGB.
It's powerful.
It's so powerful and it's washed.
Oh, wow.
Then it's like thermal shocked, whatever that means. But this, in my case, in Swedish called en or enbär or something like that, juniper.
Yeah.
It's so dominant and all over the place, and it's gonna be so fun to follow this variety and see what comes out of it. I know it's like a hybrid from Bourbon, but it's so cool. I think we said it like twice in the podcast.
Yeah.
For the last weeks, like this is the perfect competition coffee because it's so intense. It's quite easy to nail the taste profile.
Yeah.
You will be the only one on stage having that taste profile.
Yeah.
If you compete against like 15 geishas from Panama or whatever, you will like bump out of the scene.
I feel like every sip you take is like a new explosion of flavor. But you definitely
it's
and
I think I like it a lot, but it's not something like I couldn't have this on like as my office everyday coffee because it's too much. This is the perfect Sunday brew.
Yeah, and I think it's really nice because you need office coffee. You need a coffee you like and you can have every day. Yeah. And then you need something special to bring out. And this would definitely be the one to bring out when you need something really special. It's a celebration coffee.
It's a celebration coffee and it's the perfect Sunday brew.
Yeah.
And so I had a wonderful live chat, live Instagram. We're going to talk some about your your journey again on Instagram because you mentioned to Alexander that you did some Instagram lives and stuff around. But I had one with the coffee wine yesterday, the subscription in Amsterdam, and we talked about my preferred brew recipe and V60 as I mainly use, and I think I'm kind of traditional on the way that I have my recipe of brewing, and it's the double broom recipe that we've been talking about for like 1.5 years, something like that. But in this case, I was like rigging up the microphones and stuff, and I forgot the second pour. So I did the second pour 30 seconds later than I was supposed to be. And then I think I underpoured because I had 18 grams of coffee because we were supposed to split on this coffee. So I think I underpoured a bit. And then I asked Alexander, can I do like a bypass?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they're doing it on AeroPress championships all the time.
Yeah.
So I just added 15 grams of coffee because the TDS was up. I know I brew quite strong coffees. I'm as I said yesterday, I think I'm turning 40 now. So my TDS is around 140.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, it was definitely 125. But this was up on like 150. So I just added 15 grams of water to the total amount. Yeah. And it kind of just shrunk. So it definitely works.
It definitely works.
And I've never thought about it that much. I know
Yeah.
like the big bun brewers and stuff,
Yeah.
they do bypass all the time.
Yeah. And I know also in AeroPress, it's I think the most common way to brew right now is to do bypass.
So you brew strong and then you just...
brew
And a
strong.
bypass, to explain what that is, that you brew your coffee a little bit too strong, preferably, and then you just add water afterwards to dilute the brew to get the strength of the coffee down a bit, or like level it out.
It's also really interesting. I had a colleague a while ago who had our espresso, and she usually drinks espresso quite a lot. And she's like, oh, it's a little bit too acidity for my taste. And I was like, add just a tad of hot water and that will bring it down like right away. Like not much, just like a splash. And she was like mind blown. She tried it next time and she came to me and was like, it worked so well. So
I think people do that by not thinking of with milk.
Yeah,
they just add a splash of milk or whatever to bring it up, but just to add a splash of hot water also brings...
Yes, like and then it still have all the amazing pure flavors. Yeah. And you sometimes even feel like get some more notes that you didn't feel because of the acidity. So I think it's a really great tool sometimes that you have an espresso, you've drunk a lot, but then add a splash of water and see how it changes. Yeah. It's fun to experiment with.
That's great. So back to your brew recipe, your Sunday brew.
Yes.
Are you changing recipes over time or doing the same, like trying out the new stuff?
I try to go from a base recipe that I've done before.
And what brewer are you using?
V60.
V60. Yes. Every Sunday?
Every Sunday. Oh. And I try to do kind of the same, but I also realized with like washed and naturals, like it becomes a different result. Yeah. So I've tried now to like switch up a little bit of how in the intervals, like what time I do. I actually also do a double bloom. I saw when I researched a little bit about the different recipes. Just
how much coffee do you use?
18 grams.
18, usually.
I should brew for both me and my dad, so make for both of us. And I think I've landed on 280 in water. I think it was originally 300, but I brought it down because I wanted something a little bit more intense. I brew with 92 degrees water. Usually to have it like a base, but I do switch it up a little bit when I use natural and washed. But I switch it up a little bit, but I try to do the same coffee a few times and switch it up in between what I feel like maybe this will become the better one. And sometimes it works and sometimes like, oh, the last one was much better. And then go back to that one.
Cool. That's nice. And we spoke quickly about Instagram Live.
Yes.
You've done some.
Yes, I've done some Instagram Lives.
What do you think of it?
I like it. It's a little bit like a quick podcast like this. And it's a nice way to connect. So most of in my early days of Instagram, so it was a really small group of people. I had that also follow me and I followed them. And I got to know quite a few home baristas, and so I have friends, coffee friends now from Canada to Australia. I have some in United States, and what else? I talked to people in Singapore. So it's like quite a wide spread, and then also the time difference. It's a little bit tricky to do with Instagram Live, but it's funny. I mostly done with my friend Bert from Canada, and he's a home barista, and I coached him a little bit with latte art. We got
during the live sessions.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So we did like live coaching, and it's super fun, and I'm super grateful that he wanted to do that live, like learn online. It's not easy. But he was really passionate about it and really wanted to learn, and it was fun because then we talked like once in 6 months period. And we then he made some progress. And now the last time we spoke, he just tried out to do a swan. So he's been working a little bit on the Rosetta, and we're like, we're going to do swans because we have also a hashtag that's Swan Wednesday Club. So it's like, it's Tulip Tuesday, it's Swan Wednesday, it's Pour Over Sunday, Free Pour Friday. There's quite a few hashtags to use.
That's cool.
So it's fun to join in. And then we all like tag each other and share each other's stuff, because then it's like a little bit club, like a club meeting during those days.
Yeah, because the only concern I have with Instagram Live, and I think you can kind of solve it, is just putting like a small tape or something over how many people actually watching live. Yeah, because I think, especially when I do, we have a few thousand followers, and I know, but there's like 10 people watching. Yeah, because it's hard to get people to watch live because they have 1,000 other stuff to do. Exactly. So I don't think you should focus that much, especially in my case. Don't focus that much on how many people watching now, because when you put it up later, then that's where like the power kicks in.
I feel like most of people watch it later. I'm also one of those people, because also you never know how long a live is going to be, or when you get into a live about, it's almost finished.
And then you're in Sweden, and someone's in Singapore, and then someone is in Canada.
Yeah, the time difference.
Time difference is totally different.
But so I feel like I use it as contact tool. Yeah. So I talk with the people I want to talk to, we post it, and then it can be a tool to further conversation. Yeah.
When you repost it, can you do it as a collaboration post so everyone can post it at the same time? Because that's a question I think I want to get answered before we get into it, because we had this podcast with Henok from Omnipollo 2 weeks ago, and they have like 160,000 followers or something, and we did a collaboration post, or I asked kindly, and he said, well, why not? And I know it's up to like 30,000 views or something on Instagram. So it's the power of collab posts are really, really good. Yes. And so the Instagram Live records, and then you're able to post it on your feed, right? Yes. I think somewhere in that process, I think you can do like a collab.
Because I know you can do shared posts. Yeah. But that will actually come after the last time I did an Instagram Live. So I actually have to try it and see if you can do a collaboration post.
We should get a few people together, and you can maybe host a live latte art tutorial course.
That would be fun.
Super cool.
That would be really fun.
Maybe we can bring in Håkan, or I don't know, some other Swedish or whatever people. That would be super nice. We said this was going to be like 15 minutes, and I think we're up to 30, and I think this is getting super nerdy. I love kind of how two people just can sit down and be so far down the tunnel. So you're like, I sometimes switch it up between 93 to 92 degrees, depending on what coffee it is. And for me, it's like totally understandable.
Yeah, of course.
And I had this interaction. I was away with my team playing floorball this weekend, and we went in the line for the lunch. And Roberto, my friend, who's working at Johan Nyström, and also he's a keeper in our team, the goalie. He was like, what coffee do you have here? And they were like, filter coffee. And he was like, thank you so much. Like that level. That's far away from where
sets the tone.
So Amanda, thank you so much for coming. Everything that you talked about will be linked in the description.
Definitely.
And we should do a collaboration post when this hits Instagram. It's only like 1.5 minutes, so I'll bring out the best part. Yeah. But everything will be on YouTube. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Cool.
Nice.